up all night to get lucky. We up all night to get lucky.
We've
come so far and watched so
many movies.
DCOM. Say that. Another classic intro coming out. Welcome back to a whole new podcast where we're watching all of the Disney Channel original movies in chronological order. I am your host, Lucas Melby.
And I'm your other host, Jacob Telejohn.
I used to say I'm one of your co-hosts, but no, I am the host, Lucas Melby. And yes, Jacob can say whatever he wants about that.
Jacob
and making his triumphant return,
Dustin.
Dunston checking back in. Couldn't get Sam for this episode. No, we're happy to have Dustin back. I even teased it in the previous episode that maybe Dustin, who cares only about big-time movies like the Oscar nominations, wrote into us in the last episode.
Speaking of Oscars, I did watch Joker again last night.
And we're not doing this. we're not doing this. We went in hard on the episode, or on the
last episode,
Oscars last episode. Yep. And I think we're going to go hard in on this episode with a big DCOM. I would think it's probably the last big DCOM that I knew of going into this, which is The Luck of the Irish. I feel, looking at the list of what we have coming up, excluding stuff like High School Musical or Cadet Kelly, but I feel people of our age who talk about DCOMs, The Luck of the Irish is one of the last ones.
Yeah.
I know you guys would have talked about.
Yeah, no, I remember this one growing up too.
I never really watched too many DCOMs growing up, but I just remember hearing a lot of it and the name of it. And my wife, Whitney, actually admitted that she had a crush growing up on Kyle.
Wow. All right, sign in the
man.
we got the divorce papers ready. Yeah, and it was one, going back to, again, the origins of our podcast of watching a Watch Mojo YouTube video. I think Dustin actually was there when we were at another friend of our house. Jacob wasn't even around when we were watching this video, but this is what put the seed in my mind. And The Luck of the Irish is one of them. And I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? And it is in the line of, it's a kid learning something magical about himself, and it changes his life. And there's a sport in it. But we're already getting into the movie somewhat here. So let's just, again, start where we always do, where all movies start. The beginning. And I will say, this beginning is maybe the most dramatic opening we've had in a DCOM.
It didn't seem like a Disney movie.
No, it was literally the beginning of Lost, of panning out, zooming out of a person's eyeball.
Yeah.
And then we're just getting constant shots of different people in a crowd, and we're getting some dramatic narration, which will end up being our character Kyle, just being
played by Ryan Merriman, who's also in Smart House.
Yes, we can just call him the Smart House guy.
Yes.
Interesting enough, shot a little bit of hoops in Smart House.
Oh, that's right.
And now he's shooting lots of hoops.
Yeah.
And he's maybe slightly more likable in this movie, but he's still not one of my favorite Disney Channel protagonists.
He starts off on a high note. Pretty high note.
You could say he starts out on a low note.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll get there. Me and Dustin have similar views on him and conflicting with you. But we're getting different shots of people, men, women, kids, adults, and also people in sombreros, people in Native American headdresses. Oh, there's a Native American doing a dance, and it seems to be some kind of heritage festival. We're getting narration from Kyle saying, everyone's different, but something everyone has in common is heritage.
Bing,
what?
Bing, bing.
And then it's all a dream that Kyle wakes up and his mom's waking him up.
Because it doesn't seem like a dream until he gets squashed by this girl. He just steps on him because he's a small little...
I completely forgot about that.
That's what I was referencing when he said starting off.
Oh, very good. Yes.
Because he's like Ant-Man size.
Yeah, I was getting ahead of myself. So we're introduced to Kyle as he's being called out by the MC of this heritage festival.
Kyle, and he's like, I'm down here. Can't you see me? Hear me?
And then nobody can see him. And Kyle is this very small...
thimble size.
Next to this giant lady, which this is a fetish thing for some people. And then it's taken even further when the giantess then steps on Kyle.
He wakes up to his mother screaming his name. Kyle, wake up, wake up.
Which is weird that, I don't know, obviously dreams in movies are generally more unrealistic than dreams people actually have, but who has dreams of their own where they're narrating part of their own dream? But yeah, he wakes up to his mom, and they're just a regular family, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mom and dad, and they're the Johnsons. Just the Johnsons is this normal American family. And very shoehorned in, he's like, Dad, I had this dream about this heritage festival. It was really cool. What's our heritage? Yeah. And they're like, we're from Cleveland, and that's all.
Yeah, they're really sketchy about it. They're acting awkward, too.
They're acting, as I said, they're acting suspicious and weird, overly nice in a way that reminded me of a Goosebumps episode or something where the parents turn out to be monsters. And in some ways, maybe one of them does turn out to be a little monstrous.
Oh my.
Very little monstrous.
Wow.
And then as this is all happening, we also see Kyle with a charm, some kind of lucky charm or family heirloom around his neck. That will be the whole movie. I was going to say that will come into play. That is the movie there.
Yep. Focal point.
And then there's a big basketball game because Kyle, we already said, he shoots the hoops, and he is amazing.
Yeah.
Dustin, what does he do in this game?
Well, at the final seconds of the game,
buzzer beater.
He bumps it like you would in volleyball to try to save it from going out of bounds to get it over the net, but he ends up bumping it as it's like going out of bounds.
Yeah, there's some just random like pass or ball flying somewhere, and he does a dive and digs it in, and it just somehow miraculously flies into the hoop.
Buzzer beater.
And they
wins the game.
Yeah. So yes, it's setting up that he's super awesome. We cut to the next day at school. Kyle, we were talking about this as the movie was going along. Ironically, the last movie Dustin was on, Alley Cat's Strike, probably, I don't remember his name, but the football player, was he a basketball player? I don't know. But he was like the really cool kid in the school. Mm-hmm. Kyle is even cooler than that.
Everybody loves him. He's made the winning shot. All the girls want.
Yeah, he gets like a kiss on the cheek from a cheerleader afterwards. He's walking down the stretch at school.
Loves him.
Yes, the Eagle loves him. He's making
everybody loves him.
Finger guns. He has an impromptu dance party with some kids. He is absolutely cool.
Yeah.
We'll kind of figure out why. Because going into this, I got very much 13th year vibes where we're already seeing this character. He already has everything. And again, that is not approachable. DCOM. That is not familiar for the DCOM audience. That's not something we should like. We don't like to see somebody start off awesome
on
and
a
then
high note is what I'm
where
saying.
do they go from there? But we'll see that he starts out in low in a way, even though he's at his height.
Yes.
Because does he deserve to be where he is? We will see. So then he gets approached by
Bonnie.
Yeah, probably like the second main character of this movie, really. Yeah. He does have another friend, Russell, who we'll meet, who is also on the basketball team. But Bonnie is the female lead, and she's a bit of a busybody, know-it-all, where she is running the Heritage Festival committee, and this is where Russell's like, you're on all the committees.
She's actually who stepped on Kyle in his little dream there.
Oh, I guess I didn't put those two together, but I think there's maybe something Freudian to dig into there. She's asking Kyle, are you going to participate? What's your heritage? And he's like, heritage is in the past. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, sports are now.
He said history is so 10 minutes ago. Sports are the now.
He literally says sports are now. For me, very relatable. That was me in high school, too. F you, mom and dad. Sports are now. And then he goes into class, and this was seeming to be the point where it's like, okay, he's really good at sports. Everybody likes him, but he's a bit of a dumbass.
Yeah.
But then what happens?
The class is ending, the bell rings, and he's scrambling to finish out his multiple choice tests, just crossing in random answers. And then the teacher comes over. He's like, Kyle, you can't be doing this.
First he says, Kyle, you might as well leave them blank. You know I subtract points for wrong answers.
Like what?
Which is fairly typical correcting procedure, but then implies that if you leave them blank, you just don't get counted for them. So if you know one answer, you should just answer that one question, leave the rest blank, and then you get 100%. But very luckily for Kyle, he just gets them all correct.
All right.
And the teacher is stunned.
Like, wow,
so
got them all right.
At least at this point was when the viewer and certainly I was like, okay, there's
lucky.
something more going on here. Then it starts to recontextualize his miraculous play in that basketball game, which, as I mentioned, or I asked Jacob and Dustin, because they're much more sports enthusiasts, I said, if this was even in a high school game and this happened, this would be like shown on ESPN, right?
It was captured, It was a pretty amazing shot.
So then that night at dinner, Kyle is really grilling his parents about their heritage again.
Yeah.
And his parents are still just very standoffish and weird. We get a little bit of the mom falling into the trope in DCOMs of making really weird health food. They're eating some weird salad with weird stringy noodles.
I think they were rice noodles.
Yeah, I was trying to put the pieces together in my mind and it just wasn't coming. So I just said weird noodles. And then they're just like, yeah, we're just the Johnsons. We're from Cleveland, Ohio. I think my grandpa maybe came from Buffalo, but we're just Americans. Well, and we had to come from somewhere,
and he
right?
asked him, are we Native American?
Nope. That's all there is. We just Johnsons just spring up from the ground. So to get to the bottom of his heritage, Kyle moves to the school library, and we get a techno music montage where it starts, the bass is bumping a little bit, where it's like, and he's searching the internet, and he just types, I don't know, Johnson, and
I think he only typed Johnson, like not even a location.
I mean, there's not a lot of stuff on Google in 2001,
but there would be plenty about Johnson.
Because then Bonnie, I think, comes over and he's like, you have to put a location on there. Try putting Cleveland.
Even if this is early internet, there's still 2 presidents with the last name Johnson, so there's going to be plenty of stuff that comes up for his family. And then Bonnie tries to help him out, but then she really just ends up being like, hey, you should just really ask your parents, right?
Yeah,
and then
he already did.
Yeah, is he going to go do it again? No, what he does is he
sneaks around
his parents or his dad or his mom's desk, where fortunately they just happen to have a bunch of papers that seem to imply that
birth certificates, the yearbook. He looks in the yearbook.
Yeah, under Johnson.
Yep, to try to find his dad.
Mm-hmm. He then finds his dad, but his name's Bob Smith, or I don't know. Basically, all it leads up to is that a name change has occurred.
Yes.
But then his mom comes home. And then Kyle runs out to go play some b-ball, shoot some hoops with Russell.
Yeah.
And this is where we get some slam dunk the funk in the flesh, because he is able to touch the rim and slam a ball. And Russell's like, damn, you're so...
Damn, Whitey!
It's not very important, but we can say that Russell is black. But yeah, he says, wow, you're so lucky. I bet it's because of your lucky charm. And then, okay.
Luck's got nothing to do with it. Russell.
So Kyle and Russell, they go to some kind of Irish fair.
Yeah,
because
some festival.
He sees a flyer on a bus
bench.
stop.
Yep.
After he just finds $10 on the ground because he's so lucky.
He just found the money and he was going to split it 50-50 with Russell because they're homies.
Yep.
But on the bench, yes, he sees the flyer Dustin just mentioned.
And in the corner is like a sun, and in the middle of the sun is like the emblem that's on his necklace.
On his. Yep.
See, this is what I bring these guys along for, all the details that I miss. So yeah, there's a Ferris wheel. There's shamrocks on everything.
Yes.
There's a
creepy dude handing out balloons.
Yeah, that smiles at a little girl, but then immediately frowns afterwards. So that's how you know he's a bad news. And we'll see him come into play a little bit later.
Yeah.
Then they happen across some stand where there's Lucky Charms being sold, and they look just like Kyle's, and then they get approached by some weird guy who... whoa, okay. I was worried about...
We like this Kyle.
Yeah, I was worried about how my Irish accent was going to come out, and it was already bad from the start. He's like, ooh, I can't do it. I was able to do it during the movie, but... this guy's got an Irish accent. He's a little short, but not excessively short. Yeah. And he's saying stuff about Kyle's shoes, and he's like, "Oh, does your mom still make your shoes?" And
that was
then the shop
weird fetish stuff, you know.
He holds up his own shoe, and there's a snake on the bottom, and then the shop stall owner's like, "You can't put your feet up here," and then he runs away, but he throws some coins up in the air, like quarters, and they all come down and stacked up, and
it was a good effect.
But it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Part of that is I'm taking notes while this is happening, but is Kyle the one? Like, are they stacked up because Kyle's lucky? Is it because this guy is magical? Is he a leprechaun, perhaps? It's not clear. What is clear, though, is that we meet then Seamus McSomething or other. I believe his name is actually, I find out, McTiernan or something like that.
Something Irish.
Who is in the most villainous occupation, which is...
He almost looks like the guy from Lazy Town.
I was thinking that.
I was also thinking
Is that?
Robbie Rotten or something.
Yep. Rotten crotch.
I think he's dead now. But
Oh, man.
I will
He
say...
does, yeah.
We Are Number One is one of my least favorite memes that has ever existed. So, sorry to disappoint, but I will not be putting that at the end of the episode. But yeah, he does look like Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town, and he is in the villainous occupation of river dance. He is a Michael Flatterly, something like that. Lord of the Dance type, and he has a microphone and he starts announcing that, oh yeah, we got a bit of a show going on. A little closer there.
That's pretty good.
And then, there's a probably impressive
dancing by
dance number.
Not him. A couple girls, a couple guys that were doing it.
But he eventually
and then he joins in, and then he breaks it down.
I wasn't watching too closely because anytime there's a big sports sequence of any kind where I know either the result is
it just
one
makes
thing,
you feel really bad inside. Like, I could never do this.
No, it's just that that is a time for me to take notes without needing to pay attention to what's going on because I know that they're just going to dance.
But
and they dance for like 2 minutes.
Going on. Russell, we see, was enjoying the show, and he's like, "Where's Kyle?" And he's looking around for him, and here's Kyle. Kyle starts doing the little jig, and he starts river dancing.
Yeah, and it's not really explained.
And he says, I can't stop. I can't help it.
Can't control it.
It just happens.
Well, we'll get later on into the mythology, or maybe lack thereof, of leprechauns as implied in this movie.
No.
Then while he's dancing or finishing his dance, he bumps into some person and then
pushed down,
And then we see the suspicious fair worker who we had seen before helps him up, and then it's like, "Oh, got you there! Off you go now!" And then
he puts a lay or something. He puts the
Irish tradition of, "Hey, you just got
lay
blarney."
So he gets something around his neck.
And knowing that I had already read the plot synopsis for this movie, I was like, oh, is this where he loses his lucky charm? Which he does, but nothing, it seems to...
Don't see it taken off or anything.
It's not like a sleight of hand trick. It's very just bad.
Yeah.
It's just like the carnival worker puts on the lei. And then,
but the whole time we see that he still has his lucky charm on.
He never takes it
and we'll
away.
see that apparently it's a fake, but we never see the exchange.
It was probably just when he got knocked down right in that moment. The guy
and
was just ready
maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I don't think it really was.
No, I don't think
clear.
so either. But that's when it happens. We don't know yet though that's happened. Really.
No, but the next morning we sort of get an inkling that something weird is going on.
Yeah,
because he wakes up and we were first thinking that he was late. But he wasn't.
No, it wasn't late. He hits his alarm, gets on up, and he goes over to his dresser.
To probably do his normal morning routine of looking in the mirror being like, I'm so awesome.
And then he goes to grab his lucky charm that's hanging on like a trophy, because he has all these trophies.
Because he's the fucking best.
He's so good.
He's Kyle.
Yeah,
he's Kyle Johnson.
So he goes to grab his coin or whatever, and then the trophy falls and smashes him in the foot. And it's never happened before to him.
That's not very lucky.
No.
And then he goes downstairs. He first sees that his mom has, at the beginning of the movie, I think she has straight brown hair. Now she has curly red hair.
Yes.
Mom, did you change your hair or something? Oh, no, not at all. Here, have a banger in your mouth, a banger mash.
A lot of weird words, a lot of weird food terms.
Yep.
Guy Fieri, I don't know if he would eat some of this crap.
I've seen it happen.
Oh my.
So he's been to a few Irish pubs.
And that's the thing is, a lot of Irish food is just like very deep fried and like unhealthy for you. So they had to go out of their way to really make some of this stuff seem gross. It's not like,
some of the stuff looked like pig's hooves and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it's not like they could do haggis because that's Scottish.
Ugh.
But it's just a lot of sausages and then bacon. But then she gives them this rusty pail full of
for lunch.
Slop.
That was his lunch pail.
Yeah, like pig's hooves or something.
Yeah,
like
that was really gross.
And while this was happening, because the dad had been so weird, and he's still weird, but his dad doesn't have an accent, but I could have swore at some parts I thought his dad was speaking with an accent. But also, Kyle sometimes speaks with an accent, where he'll say like, oh, is there a bit of something going on here, and then what's happening? And so
there's times he'd speak with an accent and then like catch himself and be like, oh, I didn't mean to talk like that.
So then he's walking to school with his rusty pail of slop, and then Russell. And then Russell's still going on about, oh, you're so lucky. Why are you so awesome, Kyle? And then he says, it must be the luck of the Irish.
Ding, ding, ding.
Immediately, car drives by, hits him with a huge puddle spray up into his face.
Yeah.
So then we get a pretty fun montage of him just having a bunch of shit happen to him. He goes to school, and then he is drinking from the drinking fountain, but then there's a leak in the drinking fountain.
It squirts on him, on his pants, makes it look like he peed himself.
Yeah, but he doesn't notice it until he tries to hit on a girl at his locker, and then she looks and his pants are just look like covered in piss, and he's like, "Aw."
So that was after at the locker, he opens his locker door and all of his slop,
his pig slop comes out.
He had found more money, and then he lost that money.
Oh, yeah, that got washed away. So then at lunch, he's like,
I don't have any lunch money.
I lost my lunch. Don't got any money. And then Russell's like, you want some potato chips?
But not any potato chips.
Yes.
It's Emerald Isle potato chips.
Emerald Isle. Keep that name in mind.
But I think he does have one potato chip, but then he gets some kind of Little Debbie looking snack cake. From
a friend or something.
And then he's like, well, things turning up, Kyle. But then he dumps it over. And then he's just like, well, I can't eat this now because it landed on my shirt. And then the most enjoyable bit of Schadenfreude comes when Kyle is at basketball practice. And Russell says, hey, show them how you can touch the rim.
Oh, man.
And then he just goes and
he's nowhere near it. He's nowhere near it.
Like, barely grazes the net.
Yeah.
The bottom of the net.
And then he eats it. He just crumples into a ball on the floor. Yes. And this is where we get introduced to, unfortunately, a very minor character in this movie.
Trey.
So minor that at first we thought his name was Trey. Later on we'll learn that his name is Drake. But there are some ways I would make this movie different. That
maybe he's
Drake would be a bigger character.
Maybe he's like a cousin of the evil dude.
He should be like Scott in Can of Worms, where he's the jock that they do dumb stuff to, but then he comes and helps them out in the end.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
I mean, Dustin hasn't seen Can of Worms, but do you remember Can of Worms where Mike Pillsbury puts Scott's face on a pig on the computer screen?
Oh, yes.
His, crony friend's like, that's your face! All right.
I remember that. Call back, check it out. Episode, who knows?
Back on track. Then the team is doing free throws, and they're in a big line, and they all have to make
10 of them before you can go home. And if you miss it, you got to go to the end of the... Well, I mean, either way, you have to go to the end of the line until you get all 10.
So the last two are Russell and Kyle, which then implies that Russell's bad at basketball because he took a really long time to get his 10, and then he asked Kyle, how many you got left? I haven't made any.
It's like, what? I've never seen you on a cold streak before.
He's
like, that's because it never happens.
He got horse, pig,
Blarneyed.
All of the above. So then he's like, all right, I'll stick around. The coach isn't there. But Kyle, even though it seems that everything has just been given to him, everything's come easy, he's willing to try at this point.
Yeah.
But then we'll get a little bit of putting him in his place even further because Bonnie just happens to stop by.
Bonnie and Kyle.
And then she, again, is asking him about the Heritage Festival, and he's like, oh, I think I'll do some kind of step dance. I don't know. I saw it at some Irish festival, and she said, I think that's kind of hard. I don't think you can learn that in 2 days. Didn't seem that hard. Really, it probably just come naturally. And then she basically tells him to check his privilege, but this privilege is that his luck is so good that everything has come easy for him, which you could also extrapolate some things from that. But that is not the message this movie really wants to put forth at all. We'll get into what the real message of this movie is. And then she really puts it to him one more time because she then takes a basketball after
she says something too. Like I mean, I feel like this is where it gets established that she's. Well, I mean, we see it, but I feel like she would have said something too about it. I don't know. Maybe we all missed it.
I think I missed it.
Because she talked there for a bit and you touched on a little bit of it, but
See, as the listener of the podcast, this is where Dustin can experience a moment where normally if I didn't say this, all of that would just been cut out of the episode. The classic Jacob. I've debated sometimes of taking out all the bits I cut out as a super cut at the end, where then Jacob's just like.
I'm just trying to remember.
Because I know I've sent like a snap to Dustin one time, just like a solid 5-second clip where it's just unintelligible and nothing of meaning.
It's like guttural noises for Jacob.
And I know everybody's got a verbal tick, and I've got some of my own, but hey man, sometimes editing can be frustrating. Because it's like, what the fuck? Just slow down and think for a second.
At this moment, something must have been said by Bonnie, because she then makes a shot.
Well, yeah,
and it's established that she likes sports and she's okay at them.
No, not actually yet. That comes later. But it is giving us the idea that maybe she's okay at basketball.
Yes.
But, making just a random free throw
shot
isn't the craziest thing.
Lucas said Bernie Sanders.
I've seen clips of Bernie Sanders doing it. But we're supposed to be like, oh! And actually I was like, whoa! Bonnie is probably my favorite character in the movie. So then Kyle, he gets further put in place at the next game, their next basketball game, which is hilarious.
Yes.
What are some of the things that happen to Kyle in this game?
He turns the ball over. We probably see like 6, 7, 8, 9 different little clips of him just bad passes or just getting blocked. He gets so many shots blocked on him. In the face, happens like twice.
Yeah, just fumbles around the court, trips over
falls
everything
over.
he can.
People are booing him.
Golden Retriever comes out and just like schools on him, jukes all around, lands a shot.
He's never pulled though, and we see Drake, Treyway, whatever his name is, Drake, do like really well. Even Russell's dad is yelling for Kyle to get off the court. He's pissed.
Yeah, Russell's dad, who we do not know that is who it is until the end of the movie, unless
that's my son, or I love my son, or whatever.
Unless we're just supposed to be racist and be like, oh well, the one black guy in the crowd has to be Russell's dad. Maybe he does get taken out of the game at one point, but we never actually see it happen. But yeah, we find out that they still won the game. Even though they had 20% of their team in active play just be absolutely terrible. But Drake apparently is so good that he can carry the team.
Russell kind of reassures Kyle, oh, you'll be fine, at school. You're not going to get picked on too hard, because we won. Maybe everybody will forget.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no. And what's so great about this is there are aspects of this. There's a little bit of Space Jam that comes in later on. But this sequence right here is very much anti-Teen Wolf. Or if you don't know Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox's family, secretly werewolves. No. But being a werewolf apparently makes him really good at basketball.
He dunks from half
and everybody loves him. Being a leprechaun, spoiler, he's a leprechaun, or at least half, does not make you good at basketball, and it makes everybody hate you. Yeah. But first, the next morning, we get more suspicious stuff. He goes to his mirror to grab his Lucky Charm. The trophy falls, but does not land on his foot. But he seems to think he's getting a little shorter. He's not quite as tall in the mirror as he normally is.
Pants are a little more baggy on the bottom.
Yep. Yeah. But it's the early 2000s. That could just be the fashion. And then Mom is starting a fucking fire in the house. She's wearing some fairly traditional Irish dress, and she's got like a bellows that
she's pumping the fire.
Oh, good morning, Dee. There's a lot of this movie where it's like, be proud of your heritage. America is a place of immigrants, people coming here. There are a fuck ton of Irish stereotypes in this movie.
A lot.
Which they even bring up in a little short while, actually, of people in Ireland when they came to America. There was prejudice against them. They couldn't get jobs. They were put into certain neighborhoods. They bring that up, but then they still have a fuck ton of stereotypes about Irish people. But it's like, it's the year 2001. It's okay. They're white. We can do this. And then he goes to school, and this is where he gets the cold shoulder from the girl who was a cheerleader who had originally kissed him on the cheek after the game.
Doesn't want anything to do with him.
And she says, oh, look, it's Drake. And then she goes over there. But the best part is the mascot of their team, the soaring eagle, just says, nah.
Shakes his head.
The kid who, I guess they did win the game, so it makes sense that he could be in the mascot costume, but just in the middle of the school day in the mascot costume. Just says no. I don't even know you.
Not impressed at all.
Which just reminds me of Jack Swagger, former WWE wrestler, now Jake Hager in AEW. But he was a very patriotic figure, kind of like Kyle ends up being in this movie. And he used to come out with the Swagger Soaring Eagle for a very brief period of time.
An actual eagle?
Somebody in an eagle costume. They call it the Swagger Soaring Eagle. And it's such a brief window that nobody cared about that I have trouble even finding stuff about it. And there's a period of time where I ran a Facebook fan page for the Swagger Soaring Eagle, but I also did nothing to it. And nobody liked it because nobody cared about the Swagger Soaring Eagle. And then eventually I just had to tell Facebook, I don't want to do this. Because they're like, nobody likes your fucking page. You want to pay people to know about the Swagger Soaring Eagle? So I was like, okay, yes, please kill the Swagger Soaring Eagle channel. So in science class, we get to see some fun of all the kids in lab coats. And should be mentioned this whole day, Kyle is wearing kind of a fisherman's hat.
A bucket hat.
A bucket hat. Yep. There you go. Yep. So yeah, still very late 90s, early 2000s.
Eminem style hat.
But the hat comes into play in a very weird way that makes no sense.
Yeah, we're not told why he's wearing it to begin with.
The school dress code is apparently cool with kids wearing hats all day. Did not happen in our good old Minnesota town.
No.
Eventually we could bring our backpacks, and that was really nice. But hats, that's how school shootings happen.
Right.
But they're doing some shit with magnets, and then the magnet they're using is starting to attract and pull up to his Lucky Charm.
Iron, cobalt, and nickel.
And Kyle's like, that can't be happening. It's solid gold. And Russell's like, y'all dumb as fuck.
He said, magnets don't lie.
Magnets don't lie. He channels Shakira and says, my magnets do not lie. I was talking about that Super Bowl show, halftime show, right?
Oh, God.
I didn't watch it.
Just saw the memes.
Yeah, I saw the... And primarily older white guys at work the next day.
What was that
supervisor group I worked with.
What was that garbage?
And my boss, who is a woman, in her 30s. So, but she's still like, all these crotch shots? What kind of message does that send to girls? And then, it's like, what do you look at as empowerment? People more my age... A girl who is a literal Zoomer. She is 24, so that makes her a Zoomer. She wants to be a millennial. And I say, no, you're a Zoomer. She's like, no, I thought it was great. So, generational differences. Kind of like in Luck of the Irish.
Bingo.
Back to Luck of the Irish. So that special coin is not his special coin because it's not gold.
Correct.
Magnets. How do they work? Shout out to ICP. I don't want to hear from a scientist. They're going to fucking lie to me.
God, I don't know that song.
Science all up in this bitch.
Jesus.
Yeah, bitch, magnets.
Actually, no. Miracles all up in this bitch. The Insane Clown Posse implies that magnets work because of miracles, not because of science. That I just want to get that out there to everybody. I'm a true fan of the Dark Carnival.
I believe it.
So then Kyle just is freaking out, and he's trying to... I don't even know what he's doing. He's trying to make a phone call. But then his luck uses a payphone, and it's not working, and he's getting smaller.
First, he drops all of his coins, and then he goes over to the payphone, and then...
And he's just running around, and he trips, and then we get the big reveal. His hat comes off, and he has red hair.
Yes.
And also kind of pointy ears.
They're starting to point.
But his ears aren't pointy enough that anybody calls attention to them yet.
Yeah.
But then it's like... Why the fuck was he wearing a hat all day? It would have made sense if I see I got red hair. I put a hat on so nobody sees. Yeah. He was just wearing a hat, so then it's creating a dramatic reveal when really they could have just done the basic thing, which is he wakes up in the morning.
Has red hair.
They show him from the neck below. He walks into the bathroom.
And looks up.
Rubbing his eyes. Oh my God. Macaulay Culkin face slap. I'm a leprechaun. But no, we get some weird thing where... Hat falls off.
No problem with that.
So he rushes home, and he finds that his mom is about a foot tall.
Foot tall at this point.
And
they say
I thought she was as tall as a shoe.
There was a shoe there, yes. But the dad said a foot tall, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very clearly stated. The dad broke out a ruler to measure his wife, because he's like,
but she does.
Don't you get any smaller, honey?
But
that's just the way I like it.
She does get smaller, though.
Yes, she does.
And we see comparisons... as she gradually gets smaller.
So, of course, this means that the mom is a leprechaun.
Yes.
But the dad
She says it. She says, I'm a leprechaun, Kyle.
And then the dad's like, nope, I'm still from Cleveland. That was true.
But why'd you change your name, Dad? Doesn't ask that, but I'm curious as to why.
Yep, so Kyle learns that he's also a leprechaun, or at least he's a half leprechaun, and since he's younger, that's why he's not shrinking as fast. And then this is where he notices his ears, I think. The rules are very blurry.
I think if you're older, you change fast. That's what Grandpa said.
No, because...
Remember later on they asked him, he's like, why aren't you small? He's like, oh, things take longer when you're older.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, is the rules don't make sense because the mom immediately shrinks.
Yeah.
We soon meet Grandpa O'Reilly, who says he's not growing short that quickly because he's really old.
Yeah. So Kyle should have been like a foot tall, like...
Though it also is implied that Grandpa O'Reilly is over 100 years old because he claims to have invented potato chips.
He's over like 200 years old, he says at one point.
Yep.
Man, oh man.
So then he starts to talk, I don't know, just randomly, because he's like, oh, I must have lost the coin at the fair. Yeah. There was this weird old guy, and they're like, did he have a snake on the bottom of his shoe?
Mom says that.
Oh, yeah, he did. Oh, fucking Grandpa O'Reilly.
Yeah. He's like, that slithery bastard.
So, yes, they got to track down Grandpa O'Reilly, who luckily is the owner, runner of Emerald Isles potato chips.
Yes, which we were introduced to earlier, the chip bag, that is.
It's a perfect, it's a ticking watch. Everything has a purpose.
See, and this is always what's nice about going back and watching it when we're older, that you catch on to that kind of stuff, because that's not something I would have noticed when I was younger.
It also doesn't fucking matter.
No, but it's a fun little detail.
I'm almost positive you thought Emerald Isles was a real potato chip company.
I don't know what I thought.
You're like, why are they focusing so much on these Emerald Isles? So, well, it's what they call Ireland. It's the Emerald Isle, and yes, they have set this up. Yeah. So then go there. So you didn't pick up on it at all. So yes, as they're driving up to the potato chip factory, which I guess recently moved to their town, this is where Dad says that Grandpa, apparently Irish, at least leprechauns, are racist and they don't like mixed races or marrying outside of Irish people.
That's why I didn't like the dad. Yeah.
So the mom had to disown her family, or got disowned, and that's why they changed their names so that they couldn't be tracked down as easily. Yeah. Because I guess maybe Grandpa O'Reilly knew that his name was Bob Smith, so then changing it to Bob Johnson.
I guess.
Which are equally as generic, but then hides it for them.
Yeah.
So they go into the factory and they ask, like, security guard, oh, I want to talk to Mr. O'Reilly. I'm his son-in-law. And then he's like, nope. And they get thrown out. And then, luckily enough, as he's been thrown out, he sees Bonnie, which this was set up, but it doesn't matter, that she's there on a field trip with the Young Achievers.
Yes.
And then Kyle just sneaks in with them. He's got his hat back on, so he's very...
He's
very incognito right here. And then he gets seen by the security guard on the camera as they're going through the tour of the potato chip factory, because Young Achievers, very inspirational to see how potato chips are made.
Yes.
And then a fairly fun chase ensues where Bonnie first sees that he's there. She's like, you're not a young achiever, Kyle.
Yeah, because Kyle's
you just are lucky. You get everything handed to you. You've achieved nothing.
Kyle's asking all these questions about G-Pa.
So then the chase happens. Security's chasing them. And Kyle, being a bad guy, just drags Bonnie into this. It gets her in trouble. They hop onto like a go-kart.
Push somebody
not a
down.
go-kart, a golf cart.
Standing on it awkwardly.
Yeah.
And they just shove him to the floor. And they hop in.
And then a security guard catches up to them. And he's like wrapping his arm around
choking Kyle out.
And Bonnie screams a couple of times in this movie. And it is genuinely like,
oh my God.
Something not safe is happening right now.
And they crash.
They crash into
boxes.
But they don't get affected too much because they're just potato chips.
The guy flies over them into the boxes, but then they get out and start running, and then he
good thing we're leaving a little bit of air in there.
Yes.
Keep them fresh. Make me lots of gold coins. All right, we were losing it there.
This is actually where we lose Bonnie in the chase. She stays in the little cart.
Well, very briefly, because the chase ends with Kyle falling down a very windy chute.
Yes.
Into some kind of
dumpster.
I don't know. Yeah, it seems to be like a laundry chute, so he lands in like a laundry basket for all of the laundry that happens at the potato chip factory.
Yeah. And Grandpa says something like, "Better not throw that batch out" or something.
Well, Grandpa shows up.
Yes.
To start. That it's revealed that where he's landed, his grandpa knew in his infinite leprechaun wisdom that
lucky.
This is where... But he has no luck. The luck is gone.
That's true.
But then also shortly thereafter, Bonnie falls through the chute.
And doesn't land in the bin. Lands just straight on the cement.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So then they have like in the West Wing, they have a walk and talk with Grandpa, a very long-winded talk that we did not very much pay attention to because it's framed in such a weird way where we see Grandpa in the front, then kind of side by side with him is Kyle, and then we see Bonnie in the back. And I don't know if it was purposeful because they do once cut to her to show this is happening. But this seems to be the busiest hallway in the factory because everybody's walking by them and always is like bumping into Bonnie or she has to step out of the
right side. Why isn't she walking right behind them?
Because then we can see her. So it's like how the shot is framed.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's just awkward. But then we get a cutaway shot of her stepping around somebody.
Yeah, so they knew what they were doing.
It's intentional or purposeful in some way.
That's weird.
So that's why
it was
like
funny, but I don't remember anything they were saying.
Well, in the hallway talk, I think Grandpa was mostly giving a history lesson on the necklace and talking about the clan O'Reilly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So the long and short of it is that the Lucky Charm was not just for Kyle's family, but for the O'Reilly clan.
The clan O'Reilly.
Which, for all we see in this movie, is
2 people, 3
people. Yes. I mean, we know there's a lot of O'Reillys.
But it's been around for,
I believe O'Reilly Auto Parts is at least somewhat regional
O'Reilly.
or maybe national.
Auto Parts. There you go.
And this is where Bonnie's like, well, if you're a leprechaun, why aren't you small? And this is where we get Grandpa saying, well, it's because I'm old.
Yeah.
Reasons.
Things take longer.
So then Grandpa, if we didn't make it clear, now learns, because he's not the one who stole the Lucky Charm, because that's what the parents thought, is that now Grandpa's like, well, fuck.
We gotta get that.
What happened to the charm? And then there's a really dumb joke where he takes out a flute and starts playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kyle's dancing along with it. Which that part was kind of funny because Bonnie's like, hey, could you stop playing the flute? And he's like, oh, this is how I manifest despair. And then Kyle's like, yeah, that was pretty dumb. And then I just have in my notes, blah, blah, blah. Seamus McTiernan must have stolen the charm.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know how they get there, but I think he just is like, oh, the only
other
name I knew from the festival. Yeah. Seamus McTiernan. And Robert's like, fucking that asshole! And then it's like, sure, why not? The only other kind of named character we got is the guy who did the dances at the festival.
Yeah.
We do learn that the guy who really, we talked about stealing the necklace from Kyle is his crony, but it's just, why? Just, I don't know, have it be just not that guy. Like some other random leprechaun that we hadn't seen before. It's just one of those DCOM things where it's Chekhov's dancer. If there's a dancer in the movie, he has to be the villain. So then they go back to Mom and Dad who are in the car. But then, for whatever reason, the car won't start.
Because bad luck.
Yeah. And also, this is where the grandpa and the parents make up.
Has a sweet ride, also.
Well, yeah. But first, we got to tie up the family drama. Grandpa's like, okay, fucking whatever. I don't care about you being married anymore. And it's like, okay, well, that's nice. Move it along.
The dad had kind of asked, like, let's let bygones be bygones. But then Grandpa's like, oh, no, we don't have time for that right now or something.
Yeah, like Grandpa, who has lived for maybe hundreds of years, definitely seems to have a grudge. Be able to hold a grudge against the 2 people we know that he knows is like Bob the dad, who he fucking hates, and Seamus McTiernan. So, but yeah, sure, why not? Family drama's over. No. They can't start the car, so they get to use Grandpa's sweet, and question mark sweet, kind of puke green convertible because he's a leprechaun.
Shamrock green.
And at this point, we also see that Grandpa is starting to...
He has a beard, just magically.
Grow a beard.
It's pretty long.
And it's not clear if this is part of the lack of luck curse, or if now it's just, hey, we know he's a leprechaun, so he just has a beard now. Yeah. But over the rest of the movie, the beard starts to grow longer.
Yeah.
The mom is getting shorter.
Yes.
She's like in the dad's pocket at one point. Mm-hmm. And as they're driving, they just happen along Russell's just walking
around the hood.
No, they hit a stop sign. Russell's just, Kyle, is that you? And Kyle's like, oh no, he's gonna see my ears.
And he climbs on the car. He's like stepping on the
he's
seat. Yeah,
just completely uninvited. Russell just climb, right, and nobody even says, "Come on, Russell." He just like gets in. He sees Bonnie's in there with Kyle. Yeah, sure, get in.
And then he sees Grandpa. And he's like, "It's that old man from the festival."
And then he sees Short Ma. He's like, hey, shawty! And then they drive away. They get to the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And then Dad is going to leave to go investigate. And then Grandpa's like, hey, I need to set up a thing that will become important later on, is that Seamus loves to gamble. So, I don't know, try to gamble with him or something like that.
No.
Even if as loosely as gambling can be construed for later on in this movie.
No.
He comes up to the RV. I don't know, something happens.
He's peering inside and he sees the safe and it's open with the coins.
Mm-hmm. And we should say, Seamus has a giant RV.
Yeah.
So that's where the dad's looking.
Yeah, he's looking inside, and then it cuts from the giant little chest of gold coins to
they call it a pot,
face.
And it's not a pot. It is very much a chest.
And then boom, it's Seamus's face, and like they're trying to like kill him. They're trying to kill Dad. Like they just start driving.
Yeah, he starts driving. The dad's hanging on the RV. He flies off. It looks like he's going to hit the car.
And he just laughs.
He veers away,
Yeah.
and then we get a chase scene with ska music playing.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy the ska music at least. But the chase scene, if only it happens in a way that it implies that Seamus McTiernan is so lucky that he's able to maneuver his RV so well. Otherwise, it's like the RV goes around a corner.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
And the car
goes around. It's like me driving in GTA where I'm just like hitting every light pole and everything. So it's a fairly lengthy car chase.
Yeah.
Certainly in DCOMs we've seen, I don't know if we've really had any car chases. But it goes on for a while, and then the car pops a tire.
Well, at one point they throw food on them. The food, he's like, "Oh, throw out this brew or whatever the heck it was."
It's not. It was corned beef.
Corned beef.
And then the crony says that was the last of the corned beef.
And
to which Seamus responds like, because Irish people, they eat three things: corned beef and cabbage, potatoes,
potato chips,
alcohol.
So this sets up that they need to go get something to eat also.
Yes, exactly. If you want to take it that way.
No.
And then, I think the car pops a tire, or there's something where they can't move anymore.
Yeah, they park
and they're like, hey, Grandpa, why don't you have a spare? And he says, I'm so fucking lucky, I don't need a spare. So does luck just make tires just not wear at all?
Yeah,
because eventually the treads would be worn off of the tire.
They go back to look for the spare, but it's just full of shoes, right?
Well, this is not where we get the reveal that there's a bunch of shoes in his trunk. That comes later and is not even commented on.
No.
It's just he opens his trunk and Russell sees all these shoes. They look at each other and that's it.
That's weird.
It's not like he hands shoes to, hey, Russell, these are special clogs, Irish clogs that will help you beat Seamus McTiernan.
I feel like that's a thing they just forgot that they had. Like, I feel like they had a plan for all the shoes.
Well, and that's the other thing is, I don't think leprechauns are known for making shoes.
I don't know.
I can't remember the name. It's the cobbler. What is the name of that story?
I know what you're talking about.
We're going to Google this.
The Cobbler starring Adam Sandler? Because that's a movie.
Tale. The Elves and the Shoemaker.
Okay.
Which, something like the Cobbler. So those are fucking elves, not leprechauns. It's just like in Under Wraps and whatever else, where Disney does not know how mythologies work and they just throw stuff together.
Yeah.
But whatever. Where were we?
Well, they're just all just hanging out in their car because they can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden comes a rainstorm.
Well, even before that, because we have to make the rainstorm even more fitting, is we get an emotional moment with Russell and Bonnie where Kyle's like, I'm so fucking bad. I'm so unlucky. Man, this sucks. And Russell is like, nah, you're great. You're the reason we made it to state. Russell, actually, that's Drake. Champagne Pappy carried your ass. And then this is where Bonnie says, sports aren't everything. I should know. And then that kind of just hangs there and doesn't get picked up on. And we're like, what the fuck does that mean? Is again, one thing was set up very early on is that she made that one shot. Is Bonnie good at sports?
Sports aren't everything.
Now we get this line. Did Bonnie used to play sports? No. And then it will come back into play at the very end of the movie.
Yes.
And it's still very stupid. So there's strife in the group. Kyle's mad because Bonnie is still being like, hey, you're just overly lucky and you need to actually be able to try and stuff. And then she's like, I fucking love sports, okay? I don't want to be a different person. I just want to be lucky and be good at sports. And that's where it starts to rain because, of course, it has to, because this is a very dramatic and sad moment. And then this is where Bonnie gives a good speech, because this speech is about how something immigrants coming to America, and you know what? Americans, we don't give up. And then the rain stops.
Yeah, it does. Bright sunshiny day all of a sudden.
You know who's not an American? Seamus McTiernan.
Oh, he's munching out with his buds.
I bet he's here on like a student visa or something. It's expired. He doesn't even have a green card. So then they see a rainbow. So that's probably why the rain also needed to happen.
Oh,
because
there
we'd be
we
like,
go.
why is there a rainbow?
Gotta set up the rainbow.
Yep.
So then they start chasing to find the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
And we already actually have somebody go, well, actually, where it's
That was-
Russell,
Russell
not
says it.
Bonnie.
Yeah.
Russell
Yeah.
says, actually, you can't get to the end of a rainbow.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't know what he's...
prisms or whatever.
Yeah,
the hell
you
it
know.
is.
However it works.
But
And the grandpa's like,
Grandpa's like,
oh,
boy, you're
yeah,
wrong.
sonny boy.
Tell me about the rainbow.
You're telling the motherfucking leprechaun what's at the end of the rainbow.
life, the last 300 years.
So,
They do find the end of it because it's shining on the
well, they don't
RV.
actually find the
Oh,
end
wait.
of it. When Russell's calling them out that they can't
No.
get to the end of the rainbow, they just turn and it's like, oh, the RV's over there.
No.
So it kind of guided them to the RV,
Yeah.
but not exactly. So Seamus, as Jacob said, since they threw out all their food, they were inside a restaurant.
With
which
like
is-
more people than they had on the RV. That
maybe they're just the restaurant staff because it's an Irish restaurant and they're just playing Irish music.
I
Like,
guess.
Yeah, they have like live music with violins and
Yeah.
you know, and Seamus is maybe drinking something. It was a
Bagpipes.
dark
Yeah.
liquid. I don't know if it was a
Stout.
a
Pale
stout,
ale.
a lager, an ale of some kind, or just a nice Coca-Cola with his
Probably
corned
Coke.
beef sandwich.
Yes.
But so they're distracted. So then Kyle and Grandpa break into the RV, or just go into it. Maybe I shouldn't say break, but they start to have a bit more of a criminal angle going on soon. They find
Grandpa turns pretty dark here.
the one accurate thing about leprechauns.
Yeah.
But something weird before that is they find the safe, and then Grandpa, not having the luck power
No
or anything,
powers,
just
just-
holds his hand out, and magically, like, the safe's dial just turns around really fast, and
And
some
door
smoke,
opens up.
and
Just a
then
little smoke
pops
poof
open.
and-
Yeah.
And something I will say about this is, quite honestly, mythology of leprechauns doesn't fucking exist. To the point where, in the Warwick Davis movies, the leprechaun can just fucking do anything. He can grow giant. He
Yeah.
can change his voice. He has tons of magical powers. I think Leprechaun in space, he, like, goes up somebody's, like, pee stream into, like,
What?
somebody's body. I'm not even...
Whoa.
Maybe I'm moderately making that up, but I don't think I am.
Whoa.
And it's just, yeah, you know what? There are no rules about leprechauns, except
and-
one thing is,
They're greedy.
I just figured out what I'm going to put at the end of this video.
Oh.
I want the gold. Where the
Oh.
gold at? Anybody who's up in that, see that leprechaun, say yeah!
Ew.
So they see all the gold,
No.
and
Kyle grabs one and he's like, I can just feel it.
This
is
is
my
this is
coin.
my coin.
it calls to him like the one ring.
And Grandpa's
And being like a real golem, Grandpa.
Grandpa's like salivating over all the coins.
you can never just know about a feeling. You might as well just take them all, Kyle. Let's take them all.
Which is accurate to leprechauns. They're greedy. He should want all the gold.
Yeah.
And then this is also where I was like, wait, so if he has all of these gold coins, are there just people shrinking all over the place?
Yeah,
is this like a
probably.
traveling Irish fair that he's hitting all these stops in the
Yeah,
country?
probably.
We will, in a little while, find out what Seamus McTiernan's plan was to have all these coins, but I feel like this would be like an epidemic. Like, there's more serious stuff going on. But Grandpa O'Reilly don't give a fuck.
Or just
because
the small little
he's the
picture.
realest
Yeah.
leprechaun.
Well, because Kyle just wants to bring them all to the police, and Grandpa's like, no, we can't bring them
Oh,
to
well,
the...
yeah, he should not.
He
Fuck
uses-
the police.
He says like some weird word for the police I've never heard. Some,
No.
Who knows? And he's like, fuck the police.
He's like, them blarney pig fucks. Hell no.
more or less.
So then we get a really weird thing where... Oh, actually, no, before this, it's very important to the general message of this movie, is that Kyle's like, no, we can't take all of these. We didn't come here to steal. We came to America to work hard and achieve things.
Yes. There's like some like...
Basically, the theme of this movie is immigrants it doesn't really matter your heritage. We're all Americans. And the heritage of America
Work hard, play hard.
is capitalism. You're not Irish. In America, you're a capitalist. And you should not take a pot full of gold when you can, because the CEOs definitely wouldn't do that, right? No! All right. Maybe that's my 2020 view looking at this movie.
My God.
But then we get a really weird thing where the coins start swirling around, and we see Seamus's head pops in because he had sensed them from like the restaurant. And he pulls Grandpa's beard. We should say that once Kyle got his medallion back, he starts to like turn back to normal. And Grandpa's beard starts to grow shorter, but then it stops. And then he gets pulled into this gold coin vortex by Seamus.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no!
Where does it lead to? Where are they going? Just outside.
Literally the next shot, Seamus drags Grandpa in by the beard into the RV. I guess it was kind of a cool effects shot, but it's super magic right there. I teleported him outside. He was finishing up his bill at the restaurant. He's like, I can't get out there quite yet. Here, I'll just magic you to me. So then, this is where we get the setup from before of Seamus McTiernan fucking loves gambling. So
loves a good bet.
Yeah. So then Kyle sets up some challenge where he says, hey, I don't want you to make my grandpa your slave forever. So, hey, if I beat you in a challenge, you won't make my grandpa your slave. Well, what if you lose? I'll be your slave.
No, you can make
wow, this is really fun. What are you doing, Disney Channel?
No.
Yeah, luckily nobody is saying that Russell should be the slave. But then Seamus is like, what would you challenge me at, Kyle? What else would he say?
Sports.
Yes.
Seamus is like, yo, gonna play me in some video games? So you like some Mario, some Tetris? He's like, no, sports!
Sports is now! History is so 10 minutes ago!
Yep. But now he's gonna need to learn about his family's history because they get transported.
He snaps his fingers and boom, they're in Ireland.
I don't even know if it's implied that this is like actual Ireland. I don't know if this is just like some dimension in between ours and another, just some magical liminal space of vaguely Ireland because it's night. It's a green field, and there's just random like Stonehenge pieces around.
Grandpa's shackled to it.
Yeah. Which Stonehenge isn't really. I don't know if like the Druids were like Gaelic. I mean, it's in England, not Ireland. But yeah, Grandpa is
shaking in shackles.
Save me, Kyle! And they're all wearing, I don't know, traditional Irish garb. Not kilts, because that's Scottish.
Yeah.
But
something
they got
like it, though,
they got not berets on.
Yeah.
And then they start to play a bunch of traditional Irish sports.
What's the first one?
Things like, here's this fucking ball that we hit with. It's kind of like
short hockey sticks.
Yeah, it's like not lacrosse or field hockey.
Yeah. You have to win 4 or 5 games?
I don't know. No, they play 8 games.
Yeah.
And they end up tying.
So, yes. The first one is hitting the ball. Well, they're like charging at him. They hit it back and forth a few times.
Which seems impossible. That game just seemed dangerous and impossible. But it's basically like
he gets a win. He gets
the bludgers in like Harry Potter. Yeah. It's like they just focus on hitting that ball. Yeah. Like that's this, except you score with it. And yeah, he hits it through like a big gold post. So Kyle gets 1 point.
I think he has his. Does he have his gold coin at this moment?
No,
not on him yet.
No.
Okay. So yes, he wins the first one, loses the second and third one, which is throwing a rock and then throwing a wheel.
Yeah. Yep. And he also wins another game that takes place on the same like field hockey course where he just throws like a ball through the goal.
Yeah,
it's like
similar one.
So yeah, blah blah blah. It ends
dancing. He wins by breakdancing.
Well, yes, it's like
and then a race. He loses a race. And then there was another one he won.
You got too far ahead of yourself here, Jacob.
Running? They were running.
We did not need to go through the fucking
running was
decathlon of Irish things.
That was fun.
Basically, it doesn't matter. They like wrestle at some point, but we get during the wrestling and some of the other stuff the real motivation for why Seamus McTiernan, the villainous river dancer, is doing this, and that's because he wants to be the king of all leprechauns or Irish people. So he has all of their coins, which if they're all like short, then I don't know what good that's really going to do. But then Kyle says, in America, we don't believe in kings. We believe in baseball. Which is the game where they were playing right there is spear throwing. Kyle, not established to be a baseball player. He is a basketball player, the other b-ball. Yeah. But then, because he's an American, he can throw a spear really good because it's kind of like throwing a baseball. except not at all.
Bullseye. Right
Yes.
on the money.
So then it comes down to, except it doesn't really come down to because...
Well, it was 4-3 at that
Yes.
point, and then to get the 4th point for Kyle, he had to beat him in a dance-off, kind of.
Yes.
And then it's tied 4-4.
But the thing is, all of this going on, it's very clear, like, the different games, there's a winner. But with dancing, first of all, Russell says, dancing isn't a sport. And okay, settle down, Disney Channel. But then the arbiter, the judge of who's a better dancer, is seemingly these ribbons that drop down magically to say who wins a point. So Seamus just does a normal, like, little tap dancing, step dancing, Irish thing. And then Kyle, who we have seen has been shown to be able to do step dancing innately,
doesn't do it.
Does something else, not having the luck of the Irish, he starts break dancing, which has not been established. We have seen him dance 2 times. We saw him dance with the kids at school and at the Irish fair, never break dancing. Clearly a stunt double, but he's swirling all over the floor, and then the ribbons are like, oh yeah, fuck it, you win. Unfurls down.
So they're happy, that they tied or whatever.
But yeah, but then it's 4-4, which it was not clear really like how many games I think they were going to play at the start.
The bet was that Kyle had to win.
Yeah.
And that's where Seamus is like, oh, ha, ha,
Seamus is like, your grandpa must slay forever because you did not beat me.
No.
And then this is where Kyle says, yo, I'll be your slave, but let me play one more game. And then what's that game going to be? We get transported.
Boom, another little snap.
To the state basketball game.
And it's
where
like
Kyle's team, the Soaring Eagles, is playing against, I don't know what the other team is.
I don't remember what it was.
But they're wearing green jerseys. And who is that? It's the Robbie Rotten looking motherfucker, Seamus McTiernan, and also his cronies are on the team. And they seemingly talk to the ref, and the ref's like, I don't fucking know.
Well,
they were already here.
So they look at him, and it's a kid. So the adults are kids in the eyes of other people.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
You'll have to go back.
I thought they were just showing like another kid on the team.
No,
but that maybe makes more sense because also during this whole sequence, Grandpa is hanging, sitting chained on top of one of the backboards of the basketball hoop.
Yes, but what I didn't understand was they were doing a tip off, right? Remember they did a tip off and he won. But when we got transported into the game, the score was already 62-62 with 3 minutes left.
Yep.
So why were they doing a tip off? It didn't make any
because
sense.
Basketball, that's what happens.
It doesn't make any sense.
This is where Kyle says, channeling Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems, because now I know about sports betting. He says, this is how I win. Basketball. And Kevin Garnett comes in and is like, all right, let's fucking do this. So yeah, the game is happening. It's not going so great, but then Grandpa gives Russell a lucky, in quotation marks, lucky coin
that he puts into his sock.
Basically a placebo coin.
Yes, but we don't know that quite yet because he gets it and he starts playing better.
And he's doing good.
And then Kyle comes over, Grandpa, did you give Russell a lucky coin? Which I was like, this is fucked up. Just let Russell do better on his own. But then the grandpa says, well, yeah, it's not really lucky, which Kyle, I guess, knew. So then it's literally just the thing from Space Jam where Michael Jordan has indescript water.
Magic.
Whatever. We couldn't remember what it's called. Michael Jordan's special sauce, Michael Jordan's special sports juice. I don't know what it is, but, it's what makes Bugs Bunny get really muscular in a way that I do not like. Hey, there's stuff about Space Jam like Lola Bunny. Yeah. I'm on board with that. Extremely veiny, muscular, vascular Bugs Bunny. No, thank you. Lola Bunny and that of Bugs Bunny. Basically DeviantArt, before DeviantArt in a movie, but very different ways. Then Sonic gets the special juice, and then he's pregnant with Mario's baby. It's like, no, stop, Space Jam, stop. Send in Bill Murray. So then Kyle and Russell...
They're playing, they're gaming.
Yeah, so it's they just get good because of skill, even though it's implied.
Bad team's up by 8 or something, so they have to do really well to catch back up. And
but it's implied that Kyle is so bad at basketball
that he couldn't make a shot.
He was totally just carried by luck. He had absolutely no skill.
No.
But now it's we have skill because I believe. And it's Russell was fine. He could play even if he was the last person to make all his free throws. But then, hey, you know what? They're bringing it back, and the last seconds start to tick down, where it's maybe 6 seconds. The 6 seconds are kind of like the final minutes on Planet Namek and Dragon Ball Z, where it stretches for like 10 episodes. So, yeah.
And Seamus is he's evolving.
Seamus has turned into a leprechaun monster. He's like, well, this is already kind of like Teen Wolf, so I might as well use my leprechaun skills to see if it makes me better at basketball.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it does not.
He's a monster. He's jumping around the court and like waving his arms around and
like really underutilized. Like I thought it was pretty good makeup, and
yeah, it was.
You know, it would have been really kind of easy to do, but it would have made him seem far more villainous than just he's the guy who danced there, and now we're gonna say he stole all these things, and we really haven't established him as a
scary monster,
a bad character. He's not the boogeyman or anything like that.
Boogie Pass and
I did like that at the end. Kyle passes to Russell, and Russell gets like a
winning shot,
layup. A layup. I was going to say roll up, but no, that's not it.
Fruit roll up.
Fruit by the foot.
It's a fruit roll up for winning the game.
I think a roll up is a thing where it's, depending, it's kind of like a layup. A finger roll. Thank you. Oh, jeez. Got the real sports heads. It's good that you're here.
Other kind of finger rolls.
Stop. Where did Jacob touch you? So I did like that Russell was the one who got the winning point because he's the one who actually has earned a spot on the team and not just been lucky or whatever. Then Seamus is like, well, whatever, because part of what is really contrived dumb thing where earlier on
he would get sent back to the lake of his fathers or something.
Yeah, Kyle's like, you'll go back to the land of my father, Erie. And then he's like, it's pronounced
Airy.
I don't even know. Yeah.
Airy, boy, I'll lend you heritage. And he's like, no, my dad's from Cleveland.
He said, Harry, you're a wizard. I'm a what?
You're a wizard, Harry.
No, I'm just Harry.
No, just Harry.
Oh, there's too many clips I want to play at the end of this episode now. Part of the deal, I guess, is he gets shrunk down.
Yeah, he says, and then his arms get really small first. Like Jason Momoa in the Super Bowl commercial.
Or like a T-Rex.
Or like a T-Rex.
Or like some shit out of Space Jam.
And then he just starts to shrink and his head slowly gets shrunk down and he's a little person that crawls out of basketball clothes. But he's clothed.
Fully clothed.
This is where Kyle says, my fucking father is Bob Johnson. Aka Bob Smith, and he's from goddamn Cleveland.
And you go, and then he zooms up through the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then he gets plopped down into Lake Erie.
The shores of Lake Erie.
Yeah. I would have loved if they had a sign that said Lake Erie, but they didn't. And then
Kyle's like, I hope he can swim better than he can play basketball, or I don't know what it was.
Of his size, that's basically being like thrown into an ocean.
Yeah.
And it's like, Kyle probably just killed that man. Like, I know he is trying to enslave all of Irish Americans, but like, it's still kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And I would have.
What happens to his cronies, though? What happens to
No, they're fine. They're just following orders.
Yeah.
That's how the Nuremberg trial worked out.
Whatever happened to all the gold coins? We never find out.
That's a good question.
Grandpa's just set.
Grandpa's like, I'm so proud of you, Billy.
But
Grandpa, about the coins? Nothing there. Here, eat the chips. He just shoves potato chips in his mouth.
That's how he pays for the chips and the scholarship.
But it's like, yeah, don't cross Kyle. He's got all of luck on his side, and he might just fucking kill you.
Did we mention that Seamus was wearing the necklace during the game?
Oh, no.
No, we didn't
mention
But
it.
yes, that was the thing. So it's
then Kyle, after he like booted him to Lake Erie, he grabbed the necklace
is
that
laying
was
on top of the clothes.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Yep. Good catch.
Yeah. So apparently Seamus, with all of the luck, still could not beat the supreme skill of Kyle.
No.
And Russell.
And Russ. Russell Westbrook.
So then, yay, murder! And then it's celebration time. Mom and Dad and Bonnie.
While this is going on, I don't know if we said that it all emptied out, like the arena. It was all empty all of a sudden.
Yeah, so there was not witnesses to Kyle murdering somebody that just looks like a child to the rest of the audience.
And then as soon as he picks up the necklace, snap your fingers, it's back to cheering and the crowd's
swarming them for celebration.
And then mom's there. She's back to normal size. She was already back to normal size as the game was happening. Dad and Bonnie are there too.
And so is Russell's father, who says, I love my son.
Yeah, Russell's dad comes down from the audience. That's my son! We know, sir, you're the only other black character in the movie. Grandpa is still on the backboard, though.
Yeah.
He's not, his chains did not just disappear or anything. Then we get Kyle, as he's celebrating, shouts out to Bonnie, says, like, all skill, baby. And Bonnie just has this smile that just seems to imply that she hates Kyle so much. That it's like, he didn't learn anything. This is not realistic growth for this character. Because it would have been good if something about embracing his heritage or his leprechaun powers, as weird as that would make it seem, helped him win. But no, it's just he has a boost in skill that he didn't have before.
He even passed the Drake a couple times at the end there to get some points.
Yeah, he learned nothing.
Well, he learned that he was not the focal point of the team. That
He's still one of the 2 people lifted up by the team. Nobody lifted up Drake.
Drake should have.
Drake fucking carried them for the other, I don't know, 3 periods or whatever, or how does that
quarters? Well, it might be halves, and
who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess high school.
The rest of the game.
Times. Yeah.
And then follow up with Bonnie, we get to meet Bonnie's dad, who has never been mentioned or talked about at all. And his name is Mr. Lopez, so that's how we know that Bonnie is probably Mexican, because it can't be anything more specific than that. It's just like, Ireland, Mexico, Russell's black, heritage. And then Bonnie's dad's like, where the fuck have you been? I've been so worried, even though I'm a character that hasn't existed up until this point.
Grandpa teleports down from the rim.
He gets off the backboard.
And he's like, she's been with me all day, don't you know?
Oh, is she getting a full ride scholarship? But
she's got to be well-rounded.
Yeah. Well, actually, we don't think she's going to get it, because maybe she should play some sports. And then it's like
yes.
Again,
yes,
not actually spelled out, but it's then implied that she stopped playing sports, which she was good at, because her dad didn't want her to, so she could do well in classes to get into like college or something. So he says, you're going to play basketball next semester, right? And then Bonnie's like, yay, because sports are really important. And if you don't play sports, you're not fucking worth anything. And you are not getting a full ride scholarship from the local business tycoon that runs the potato chip factory.
True.
Dream on. And if that wasn't enough, all of that craziness happening there, the final scene.
Yes.
We get to see the Heritage Festival that had been talked about by Bonnie, dreamt about by Kyle. And we see Kyle, and he's doing a little step dance thing. No break dancing here.
Make a little noise.
And then he kind of like dabs at the end, or like sticks one arm out.
Get down tonight.
And then he says, hey, I have a heritage, but everybody's got a heritage, but we're also America. This is a song I like. Please sing along with me. And then he
sings. This land is your land. This land is my land.
And then Mom and Dad stand up.
California. And then Russell's 17-foot father.
Who seems to have been...
And he's very like, he's
an anti-leprechaun. You know, he's grown. Bonnie comes out because... she has to pretend to not hate Kyle because she's like the MC of the thing, and then Grandpa's standing up. I'm like, no, Grandpa, you don't fucking like America. And yeah, it's corny as fuck because this is all like such a weird final message, or just kind of running theme of this movie is America's great, patriotism. It's okay to be like proud of your heritage and like embrace some of that. You don't need to lose your identity. I think at some point, America, we're individuals here, which then just feeds into, you know, capitalism stuff. You know, looking out for number one, you're not caring about like the other people in your community. And yeah, it just kind of left me with a sour taste in my mouth.
Fair.
So what do you guys think about Luck of the Irish? Oh, because we should say that's the end of the movie. And yes, there was a freeze frame on Bonnie and Kyle smile.
And they look happy. Yes, it's not a fake smile this time. She's into Kyle. But no, I liked it. Good movie.
It seemed to be on par for DCOMs as far as
based on what we've told you about them in the podcast episodes. And
we were talking a little bit. This might have had a little bit better effects than maybe Xenon had.
And there was a fuck ton of extras at that fair.
Yeah, there were. How they do?
That was like fucking Ben-Hur numbers.
They did a whole fair.
It's like everybody saying I'm Spartacus. There were so many people. Yeah, there's just a lot going on. It was another DCOM where there's like lots of shit going on. Like there's the magical stuff of him being a leprechaun, then there's the basketball stuff, and then there's the fucking... like, they should have just done a fucking 13th year or Halloween Town.
Not really,
this is based on him growing old and he's turning into a leprechaun.
Not
he's
really
hitting a certain
multiple
age.
Stories going on all at once. It was all kind of just one story following.
But then it fell into like a Rip Girls situation of like themes where it's like, it's about heritage. And that heritage isn't important. It's about patriotism and America.
And didn't really have the love story though. The Kyle and they never ended up. They weren't like a thing.
No.
They were just kind of friends. Became friends.
But yeah, it's just a weird thing to end at a heritage festival, which is literally a thing to celebrate different heritage, different groups, races, ethnicities.
Yeah.
As America being like, we're special because we have all these greater people. But the message is like, America's special because we have all these people that then get funneled into just being Americans. And their past identities isn't important. And that's just, I don't know.
That's what it means to be an American, to be an immigrant.
Yeah, to love basketball.
Huh? And baseball.
Yeah, so it could have been worse. I think, I just would have liked it to be like simpler. Where maybe, I don't know, have more basketball. Like, it's weird for me to say, like, maybe I wanted more sports in this DCOM, but it was very fun watching him be so bad at basketball.
Getting hit in the face multiple times.
All right. So that was Luck of the Irish, as I put it, the last of the biggins.
We're about a month off from this being relevant, but
I don't even know when.
St. Patrick's Day in March.
Yeah, I never know when St. Patrick's Day is. So we didn't really have any emails or anything to read this week, but if you wanted to email us, you could write us at awholenewpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at awholenewpod, all one word. I had a really great moment where I get some occasional push notifications from Twitter, and I got a tweet or a notification on my phone saying A Whole New Pod is tweeted for the first time in a while. And
that's what it's all about.
Like a month and a half or so. And then it wasn't even to like promote a recent episode. Jacob was just saying, hey, we got 10,000 views on our YouTube channel, which, hey, that is cool.
Did get a few more subscribers since the last
Yeah, I got a YouTube monthly check-in, and it was like almost like 2,900 minutes watched. An amount of listening or watching that implies that people are actually
listening
or watching the episodes and not just being like, that is not 13th year full movie. Dislike.
So, I double checked and made sure that I did like that video. So you're on the positive ratio.
All right, very good.
We're up to 17 subs and 10,844 views as of Saturday, February 8th.
So that should tell you that find us on YouTube at A Whole New Pod. If you search us, you'll probably come across us that way. Subscribe, like, comment.
Like all the videos, please.
Find that on one of the videos, somebody commented being like, this shit's fucking bad. So find that person.
that was on the 13th year.
Yeah. Well, got a little Inception there. Double Lucas
they
talking.
Said, what in God fucking name is this garbage?
So, find that guy. I almost did like a channel, like slap back, like respond, but I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Because maybe it's just like 13th year is kind of garbage. So I'm in agreement with you.
Gotta take the criticism.
So, find us on YouTube. Find us on Apple Podcasts. Write a review or just rate us on there. Like Dustin from The Click has reviewed us on there before.
I saw you guys had another one too.
Another review?
That was written by my brother.
Oh, sorry.
My brother, who probably has fallen off somewhat in his listening, but Jacob had sent me that review when I was like half asleep. It was like 10 o'clock or something.
He's like, oh shit.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, that could be real. But then like I put the bits together because it's like, I can't remember the name, but it was like the first so many letters of like my brother's first name, middle name and last name. And I'm like, yeah, my brother wrote that. But it was a very good, like on brand, marketable review he wrote. So yeah, we didn't read Dustin's review on the podcast, but if you write a review for us, good or bad, hopefully good. But if it's bad, we'll just be like, yeah, they're wrong. We're better than all of the other Disney Channel original movie podcasts that I won't name drop because I don't want to start any beef. Because I also think most of them don't run anymore, except for the billions of others that have started within like Disney Plus's launch.
Yeah.
And then follow us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or I think I've seen like in Googling us when I'm trying to get to our podcast site. We are showing up on just different random podcast catchers. So there's that. You can follow Dustin.
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's
Dominating DH.
What?
No,
shut the fuck up, Jacob.
Not quite. You can follow me at Jacob_Telejohn.
No, I was going to let him get a drop.
Yeah.
I was going to just let you and then cut him off because he was being a dick.
No, I am Dustin, at Dustin, HLAVAC.
It's complicated.
Bingo.
Very.
And yeah, I think that about covers it. Next time, Hounded. Starring the kid from Smart Guy, who will come back in other movies like The Poof Point, I think. So, as I said, maybe the end of the big ones, but we still got stuff down the line. Whoa. And DCOM coming out this year.
This one's got Shia LaBeouf in it. Shia hype.
That is true, yes.
Let's go.
Maybe I should have done more top billing for Shia.
Shia LaBeouf's first maybe Disney movie.
But 2020, guess what one of the DCOMs being released this year is?
What?
Zombies 2.
Oh, no.
I can't wait till we get to Zombies. I want to watch all the musical movies. It's going to be so great.
Oh, God.
So with that,
that's a wrap.
Talk slowly.
Out. Awkward.
Anybody? We gotta have a final word.
Dustin?
Old coin's your best offer.
Well, just in time for St. Patrick's Day, crowds are coming by the dozens to get an up-close view at what some say is a piece of Irish folklore.
Some people in the Crichton area of Mobile say a leprechaun is taking up residence in their neighborhood. A leprechaun. NBC 15's Brian Johnson has more.
Curiosity leads to large crowds in Mobile's Crichton community, many of you bringing binoculars, camcorders, even camera phones to take pictures.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All you gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun say yeah?
Eyewitnesses say the leprechaun only comes out at night. If you shine a light in its direction, it suddenly disappears. This amateur sketch resembles what many of you say the leprechaun looks like. Others find it hard to believe and have come up with their own theories and explanations for the image.
My theory is it's casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff. And it told him to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
We're going to get down to the bottom of this. Yeah, still on there, guy. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, man.
This guy helping to direct traffic says he's prepared for his encounter with the leprechaun. He's suited up from head to toe.
This wars off spells right here. This is a special leprechaun flute, which has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. I just came to help out.
Others just came to get lucky in hopes a pot of gold may be buried under this tree.
I'm gonna run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I want to know where the gold is. I want the gold. Give me the gold. I want the gold.
This is Brian Johnson, NBC 15 News.
People will do anything for a pot of gold. I mean, anything.